Hello everyone, the Skilled Roy here, back with yet another Legends of Runeterra video, and today we have my all-time favorite, most played champion, and that is PYKE, finally here in Legends of Runeterra, and I cannot be any more excited. Now, just full disclosure, I'm going to be reacting to the Turkey version and probably be editing in the English version whenever it sort of appears, so I apologize for any desynchronization issues or anything like that. But anyways, let's get started. Alright, so it is a 4 mana, 2/3, quick attack lurk. When I lurk, transform me into death from below. Okay, let's see what that is. Allied Pikes have dealt 15 damage. Ooh, is it recall? There's no way it's recall, it's Bilgewater. Okay, PYKE, so when he lurks, now it should activate whenever he attacks next, right? So they attack here. Okay. Nice. Death from below, 4 mana, fast speed lurk. Summon PYKE striking an enemy. Interesting, so he turns into a kill spell, essentially. Actually, he turns into, you know what he turns into? He turns into Tri-Beam. Okay, let's see this. Ooh, what amazing FX. Let's go. All right, keeps being vulnerable, yeah. Blood bait, we think we saw this one earlier. Okay. Yeah, add the snapshot at the top of your deck. Hey, vulnerable, let's go. Ah, here's the list from the other day, yeah, as well. So this is the free attack spell. Ah, tragically, no effects on that. I'm definitely biased as a PYKE main, I understand.
Funny who you remember.
Why the fuck would you... Wait, why would you do that? Oh my god, he looks so sick. Oh my god, let's go! That is so sick! Oh, hang on. I have to go back and rewatch that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am legally obligated as a PYKE main to rewatch that. Okay, here we go.
So many names. I'm just getting...
Oh my god! That is insane! Wait, I was too focused on the animation. I need to go back. What the fuck did that card say? When I kill an enemy, I strike the weakest enemy? Oh my, wait, that just chains on itself, doesn't it? Holy shit. Okay.
A murderer has surfaced. Guard yourselves, Demacians.
Ain't them I'm here for.
Yeah, here's Bone Skewer, of course. Ooh, new Bone Skewer animation, let's go!
The swarm's always hungry.
You face a prince.
So it actually resets your PYKE, because your PYKE goes back to being a spell again. Yeah, like this. Oh, here we go, the multi-kill.
Nor will you.
Oh, it's exactly, oh, it's so perfect.
More names off the list. More names on it.
Wow. They did him such justice. Holy shit, look at that art. God damn, I'm so fucking excited, holy shit. Oh man, what an incredible trailer, but let's get into the cards that PYKE has, because I'm super excited to review these. First things first, we have Sharkling. Sharkling is a 1 mana 1/2 with Lurk and Bilgewater. Of course, they're also a lurker, and this card to me is exactly what I was looking for the lurk package, and it seems really innocuous, but let me explain. When we saw the first 1 mana lurk card, the Fearsome one, what was a 1/1, I was excited because it's Fearsome, of course, but that's not actually what you want to have on turn 1 all the time against certain decks. For example, decks that ran Go Hard or Thermal Beam can really shut down your lurk engine before it gets going. So I was really looking for something that had 2 health that was also a 1-drop. And here we go, we finally got it. So this card isn't exactly flashy, but I can expect a lot of people to be running it, if only so that it's a great lurk enabler that can't be stopped as easily on turn 1 as a 1 health one. So overall, I'm pretty excited about this. Great card to have in the deck. Okay, next up we have Redfin Hammersnout, 2 mana 1/2 with lurk. Play, grant an enemy vulnerable. So this is actually quite good. This is also comparable to some cards such as Hired Gun, also in Bilgewater, but it's more specified for the Lurk archetype and will typically outgrow the stats that Hired Gun tends to have. Not to mention Hired Gun is a non-controlled vulnerable, whereas this lets you choose specifically the target. This is super powerful with other effects such as, first of all, PYKE, and also other cards such as the list, which is also going to be in the set as well. So that's another really good card to keep in mind there. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. It gives you some solid interaction that the deck desperately needed. It didn't really have any cards that directly interacted with the opponent, and I think a lot of the Bilgewater ones are more directly towards fighting the opponent's units directly. Overall, really solid card. I really like this one a lot. Another great role player in the deck, but I'm not expecting to make too many big waves, so to speak. Okay, so next up we have is Ripper's Bay, 1 mana landmark. When allies attack, obliterate the top card of your deck if it doesn't have Lurk. Now also devs have stated that if this is also the attack that would normally make you miss your Lurk trigger and the next card is a Lurk card, then you will get the bonus. So the real thing here, realistically speaking, is you're gonna be running this card in a decks that don't want to go all in on Lurks, but still want to have a great amount of consistency. For a 1 mana landmark that also itself has Lurk, which enables it to get hit by your Lurker effects, this is actually a pretty solid card for those sort of decks. I'm not sure if I'd be running this in a full Lurk package, because at that point it's kind of pointless. You're going to be mostly building your entire deck around Lurk anyways, but for the decks that are looking to sort of splash Pyke in a less Rek'Sai dominated deck, I think that this is exactly what you want in that deck. Okay, next up is a card I'm actually extremely excited for. This is the list. Grant an enemy vulnerable, and if they already have vulnerable, the strongest ally starts a free attack challenging it. This is extremely powerful for a lot of the Bilgewater decks that are really looking to make a lot of combat trades happen, and this is probably the best example of a card that could start seeing play outside of just the traditional Bilgewater Lurk archetype. I could see this being run with, say, Renekton, for example. I could see this being run with like Undying decks that are running Sheriff Laureate Rose and that sort of thing. I think the list is actually surprisingly very powerful, and that's simply just because a 0 mana start a free attack is a very spooky ability, even if it has heavy conditions associated with it. I'll have to see just how hard it is to activate this sort of thing, but honestly, I am very excited for this type of effect. I think it's exactly what Bilgewater needed. I do think it's a little spooky, if we're being completely honest, but hopefully it'll make the cut, so to speak, and we'll make it into that sort of set. Okay, next is Bloodbait and the card Snapjaw Swarm, which it makes. So Bloodbait is obviously right off the bat really solid as a great way to guarantee your Lurk procs, because it immediately puts a Lurk card right on top of your library. Now, another thing you should mention though is that you'll typically be doing this right before you attack. That way you're able to guarantee your Lurk trigger, and that means the next turn you'll draw your Snapjaw Swarm and have an easy way to play another Lurk card that can attack on the opponent's turn. Remember, since you can only activate Lurk once per turn, having the ability to attack on the opponent's turn via either free attacks or rallies is going to be very useful, because that way it'll let you accelerate your Lurk stats way higher than they realistically should be. So I think this is actually quite solid. It does sacrifice a lot of card advantage though. Remember, it's not as free as it might seem. It's still going to the top of your deck, which means that you're denying yourself essentially a draw. You're getting rid of 1 card in hand to draw a card coming up, which is good because we need that consistency on the top of our deck, but it's not good for overall card advantage. And considering we haven't seen any really good draw spells in the Lurk archetype so far, it seems like one of our biggest weaknesses is going to be card advantage. And I think that's something to keep in mind here as we try to balance tempo with value. All right, here he is, the card we have been waiting for. Pyke, the 4 mana 2/3 with quick attack and lurk. When he lurks, he becomes Death from Below, which allows him to enter the battlefield striking an opponent, and of course allied Pykes have dealt 15 plus damage. This will allow him to flip over into the Pyke card, which is still the same ability as level 1, but then also whenever he kills an enemy, he strikes the weakest enemy, and that will of course repeat as many times as it needs to. What's really important to note here is that the strike that levels him up, if it kills the unit, will still activate the ability as we saw in the trailer, which allows him to sort of activate much faster than you might sort of look at the first time. In general though, Pyke is very, very interesting. I'm really excited to try to run him in many of my decks. I think a lot of the real interesting sort of intricacies of him is that you can't frostbite him when you play him via Death from Below. Too often, there are many ways to stop those strike effects, are things like killing the unit in response, icing it, recalling it, that sort of thing. But instead, since he's coming out from the spell and one action, what essentially happens here, the only way to realistically stop it is to kill the unit that it's targeting, or of course to deny the spell itself. Now of course it's a 4 mana spell, which means the only 2 counter spells to it are going to be Right and Deny, as I mentioned just right there. But overall, I think that means that he'll be pretty easily able to get into the combat zone and get do some damage. Another really interesting thing to note here is that its allied Pykes have dealt 15 damage, not he himself has to do 15 damage. I know this seems like a technicality, but what this basically means is that if you say deal 7 damage with the first Pyke and you deal 8 damage with the next Pyke, that's exactly what it'll still activate the level up. And that's super, super powerful, because especially in the deck I'm kind of envisioning for Pyke, you're probably be able to control Pyke getting to the top of the deck pretty consistently, I'd say, considering you're probably running a lot of predicts with him. So this means that you'll be able to easily get Pyke going over and over and over again, and even if they stop the first one, or even if they stop the first two, you'll probably get the level up eventually, and that will allow you to start popping off with Pyke. I think in particular, one thing we should note is that some decks that currently exist in the game win the game by summoning a bunch of very fragile units. I'm looking at Azir Aurelia, obviously. So if you were to block even one blade with Pyke, he will kill all of the blades instantaneously because it'll keep striking the weakest enemy until eventually striking, say, the Azir or the Aurelia. And that's really, really powerful, right? Because that means essentially Pyke will be able to essentially keep clearing boards, and they'll be scared to attack into him too, because he has 3 health, which is pretty substantial for this sort of deck. And if he does enough damage off of his lurks, plus them attacking into him, allowing him to block, he's gonna level up extremely quickly. So I'm really interested into how this sort of matchup will sort of work out, because to me, it seems like Pyke has some really solid grounds to be fighting off against the Azir Aurelia decks. Not to mention, recalling him doesn't even really hurt him that much because, again, it doesn't stop his level up progression. I think this is a really, really interesting card, especially in the current metagame. We do know that the first patch of this expansion is going to be a huge balance patch, so I don't want to say for sure if Azir Aurelia is still going to be around, but if it is, I think we're going to have a really solid card here that can sort of take them at their weakest. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. That was all I have for today, unfortunately. We are still, at the time of me recording this at least, still waiting to see if Bone Skewer is actually his champion spell. I'm under the impression that it is, especially given the new animation that it has, as well as the mix-up there was previously with the art. So generally speaking, we quickly say it right now, Bone Skewer is really cool. I'm really excited to play with that too, and think that's the perfect spell for Pyke, if that is in fact his champion spell. It just makes too much sense, all things considered, especially considering how much he wants to be on top of the deck. So we'll have to sort of double check that and make sure for certain that it is, but at the time of this recording, so I apologize if it's already come out and it's proven that it is the card, but yeah. Anyways, thank you so much everyone for watching. I really appreciate you guys all coming by and watching this video. Honestly, Pyke has been a dream champion for me. One of my first videos I had on this channel was a custom Pyke design. Pyke is just the champion I'm gonna be playing basically this entire next expansion. Even if it's not good, even if it's like tier like 5, 10, whatever, I'm gonna be playing this card. So if you wanna see more Pyke action, you wanna see me playing this deck, I'm gonna be playing it a bunch, probably on my stream as well, twitch.tv/theskilledroy. And of course, you can check me out on the Discord as well if you wanna hang out with me and talk about some of these cards. And hey, if you're a Pyke fan, come join us. Literally like half our Discord, I swear to God, are like Pyke mains. It's ridiculous. Anyways, guys, I will see you all later. Peace out.